2 stages in my lifetime. Yeah, 2, just 2. Wait, is it more than 2 here? You're looking at me. Okay, I fall off 2 for sure. The funny thing is, the smaller stage is the one that's into the hospital. The bigger stage, I call it like a 3-foot stage, and I ended up going to the hospital. And then I was preaching, and I was going, and it was a stage about probably at least 3 times as high as our stage here, and I just walked straight off. I didn't go to the hospital on that one. Actually, I think it was the second Sunday I was here, I almost fell off this stage. Yeah, you're shaking your head. You remember that? I was actually talking about pulling off the stage, and I actually almost did it while talking about doing it. So that's happening. Well, let's pray. Dear Lord, thank you for tonight, Lord. I ask you to bless this time. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. So tonight we're going to do the last half of that service with John Paul Jackson, where he took us a few more dreams, and we'll talk about that. Before we get to that, I just wanted to give you a couple updates. I know we're not doing the headline series over the summer, but a couple follow-up headlines for today. Remember we talking about the Olympics and the possibility of a female powerlifter who was a guy. She got approved this week and will be competing for the gold, 41 years old, but she is not a girl in any way, shape, or form. The man through and through. She won the Pacific Games in 2019 and by a large margin over the nearest female competitor. And she has been qualified to go for Olympics, and New Zealand is the favorite to win the powerlifting in the women's category for the first time in their history. Wow, crazy. You know, you just wonder, you know, there's already a bunch of ladies who are already protesting it because they already know they're going to lose. And it's just sad. Couldn't win it when you were a young guy, so now you're an older lady. Well, I'm just going to, now I'm an older guy still, but I'm still stronger than the ladies. I'm just going to call myself a lady. But what a terrible, crazy thing. And a question was asked, well, what about the muscle mass and all this? Well, we got the testosterone level down far enough that he can call himself a girl, but the same muscle build and bone structure is still there. So. And they plan to make a big deal out of it at the ceremonies. I'm sure they are. See how inclusive we are. Yep. You know, about 20 years from now, it'll be once again a male-dominated society and everything, just because we're not protecting the two sides. It's crazy, is it not? And then an interesting article today. Remember we talked about the Hunter versus Department of Education and different things about free speech in the schools and things like that. Well, the Supreme Court made a ruling this week on another case. And here's the headline. Supreme Court rules that schools cannot punish cheerleaders for profanity-laden social media posts. Now, you saw that. It's from a Pennsylvania school. And 8-1. Now it's interesting. It's 8-1. Once again, you know, supposedly 6 are conservative, 3 are liberal, but this one went down 8-1 in the decision. And she made the cheerleading squad as a freshman, and so she expected to make it as a sophomore, but she didn't make it as a sophomore, probably because she went into it assuming she was good enough or whatever. Who knows exactly what happened? But it turns out she doesn't make the squad. So she posted a post saying this: the F school, F softball, F cheer, F everything, and with a picture of her and her middle fingers raised up at the school. And so she got disciplined by the school. Well, she didn't like she should be disciplined, so she sued the school and went all the way through the Pennsylvania courts, Pennsylvania Supreme Court, to the Supreme Court, and they said that she has every right whatsoever to post that on Facebook and not be punished for it. Now, why do I bring that up? You know what? Facebook, yeah. If you go on Facebook and say Jesus is the way or something like that, you get criticized, you get your thing taken off, or if you talk anything about a Christian value, especially of marriage, what happens? Yeah, Facebook jail. Facebook jail, Twitter jail. You know, you look at what this girl said, and you look at all Trump. He got kicked off of Twitter because of what he said, all this stuff. But she can say this, and it's upheld, and now she's going to get paid for all her time and troubles because she won the lawsuit.
I was just gonna say she has a couple of parents,
Well, they were along with
Somebody.
She has somebody, that's what a couple of parents, she found herself somebody who is allowing this to happen. But you know, it's a really a sad case about the parents, you know, whether, you know, don't you have any say in what your child says? Shouldn't there be some morality? But the other aspect, the way this goes through, we should be able to use this case as Christians to defend our rights. It should, right? Because judges are impartial and unbiased and not political, right? Jim's laughing big time. But it's amazing. We see these things being passed before our very eyes in this world. And then people go that the church is irrelevant or Christianity is not relevant. Boy, what Jesus said is irrelevant. Look what the world's turning into.
but they yelled the loudest.
And y'all the loudest. Should the church yell a little louder? I haven't noticed lately. I've been yelling a little louder from the pulpit. I'm going to wait till the 4th of July sermon. I'm going to attack something on the 4th of July. I might go, hey, who knows? We might be any pastors. I'll be in jail at some point. That's, you know, I just, you know. But you know, it's put up for, I believe in my heart of hearts, put up for shut up time. That's what we're doing, working on the medical clinic, while we're working on the after school program, while we're working on the home fellowship groups. By the way, tomorrow night, we'd like to do a home group. We're finding out about it. 7 o'clock, we'll meet in the cafe, have some light refreshments, not a full meal or anything, just to kind of share the vision and where we want to go. Someone tonight asked me questions saying you might not be able to do it on your own. You don't have to do it on your own. You can do it. Maybe you get a group together, do it someone else's home. You're just a leader, or you do it here in the cafe, or do it at Wendy's, or wherever you want to go. It doesn't have to be in your home. The idea is to have a fellowship outside of here and also have a way to invite other people in who don't go to church to a smaller group setting going forward there. So if you're interested in that, we'll be here tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, about an hour. Basically, I'll be sharing the vision and then answering any questions and then kind of going through it. And then in July and August, we'll have a mock session where I do a group with you. You're the groupies and I'm the grouper, I guess. And we just, and every group can be different. I actually had another lady sign up. She's going to be doing one. We're going to have one group is going to deal with special needs families. One group is going to be a fellowship group. One group wants to be a Bible study. Another group wants to do a 5-fold ministry gifts and just have a group for that. And I'm so excited about her. Huh? You go to that group and pick whatever group you want to go to. But it's great. Lloyd is coming tomorrow night, and he's going to start up a group for seniors because it's maybe start a smaller group because the other thing didn't go as well. But maybe in the home might be a better setting. So we're creating more fellowship avenues for different people. And to create that, nothing will be starting to fall. Some of you are part of that, and if you're not part of that, you want to be part of it. I'm here tomorrow at 7 o'clock. There's no limit to how many groups we can have. My goal is to have 5. Right now, I think I have 9. Let's say if you want to do it, whether they're all go forward with it will be the next question. Going from there. All right. So without any further ado, I'm going to go upstairs and I'm going to click on the little computer thing, and we'll watch the last 30 minutes or so of him. People sharing dreams and interpreting dreams and going from there. Just as a reminder, take notes, and then in July we'll talk about what you saw and learned, and talk about your dreams and stuff, and maybe you'll catch some things that help you interpret what you're seeing in your dreams and your visions. All right. First things first, got to fix the TV camera. All right.
Especially don't let this happen to you. And then when the policeman comes with the Uzi and begins firing at everybody under the carport, what's going to enter a carport?
And I think we got to back it up because somehow this started without me. Let's see. I tried to get it put in the right spot.
Can you talk about the hair?
Oh.
This hearing 2 weeks ago, I titled it Key to One Box Leads to Keys to Three Boxes.
We did that one, right? There I go. Okay, let me get right back. Hang on.
Says, I bought this house.
So you got to do, okay?
Oh, we'll just finish that one and then we'll go on. Can you hear it now?
The first box had the old baseball cards. Now, the old
Good now?
seems to
Yeah,
indicate
okay, thank you.
that.
Oh, if it needs to be louder, it can.
Okay? The baseball cards indicates that you may have thought it was a game, but it was actually preparing you for the next two boxes. So the next key, you open it up, you don't know what it is, but it's bigger than the baseball card. And that's because you don't know what it is, you haven't got there yet. After this comes a bigger box than that, and started with what you thought may have been a game, or insignificant, or just fun, but it prepared you for things that are at hand and will come after that. The last one being greater than any of the previous two. Okay? Yeah, that's good. Hey,
Okay, have a dream that my husband takes me to this house and he says, I bought this house.
so you,
Yeah, and it's really ugly, and I don't like it at all. And he says, I only bought it for $142,000, it's a great deal. And he takes me in, and it's got this wood paneling, and it's just awful, and I'm thinking, I hate this house. And he said, but, and we keep walking, and there's two bathtubs in the same bathroom, and I'm like, this is the dumbest house I've ever been in my
you flush
life.
the toilets and they disappear.
So I'm really mad at him in this dream, and I leave, and I'm sitting out in the car, and I look at the house, which is kind of up on this hill, and it's got this kind of blue-green Spanish tile roof, and I look at it, I'm like, well, it is a new roof, I do like that. Okay, I'll go back in. So I go back in, and he starts to show me all these other rooms, like the house is growing as we're walking in it. And so then we go downstairs, and it's got this big den, and this ugly orange shag carpet. I'm like, well, we can get rid of the carpet. And so we go out, and I love porches, and we go outside, and there's all these porches. I look back, and there's all these porches, and it's kind of chill. And then I look over to the left, and he goes, you're really going to like this. And there's a storage room, because we have no storage in our house, and I like that. And he goes, but then look at that, and then there's this other house that's kind of detached from the whole thing. And in there was this big old king-size bed, like bigger than king-size. And it had a fireplace, and I was like, oh, that's really nice. And when we have, guests or missionaries come, they can come, and that'll kind of be their little hideaway. And then I like the house, so.
You woke up and said, oh, okay,
I
this
like the house. There was a lot of color in that dream.
Okay, so, yeah, there was a lot of color in that dream. The overall tune of the dream basically says this: there's something coming your way. You probably won't like it at first. It's not meant for you to accept as is. It's meant for you to remodel or add your touches to. It's going to grow. If you'll accept it, it will get bigger. It will grow with you. So, in other words, and it may actually grow where you have to find something to do with it, like, well, we could put somebody else in there, or it's not just for us, this is for other people. So now you know that this house is really not about you. It's about what you're going to do for other people. And it's not really probably a house, it's probably the impact you're going to have on other people. But in order to have that impact, you're going to have to probably change, your husband's probably going to have to change some of his desires. What is acceptable to him probably is not going to be acceptable for what the impact of the house is going to be. And is your husband here? Where is this fine man? I would suggest to you that the dream is saying, what? You have a great eye for a bargain. And number two is that, but God's going to require you not to settle for second best in what He's calling you to do. And so He'll let you get it, not with the idea of keeping it as it is. He'll let you do things But the idea, you'll make it better. You'll take the ugliest thing and turn it into the most beautiful thing. And your wife will have the creative ideas how to make it work. Two of you in this project are going to be necessary to make this thing work, the house work. That probably represents influence that you're going to have. And the older codes means you may have had influence this way in the past, but you're gonna have influence this way in the future. The new carpet, the new color would be the influence you're gonna have in the future. The old carpet, the old color, the old panel walls would be influence you had in the past. If you keep to the past, you'll never influence those you've got in the future. So that's what the whole dream is about. The influence God wants you to have, the ability to make the changes to do it. Don't stick with history in order to achieve your future. Okay? All right? Blessings.
Hi, nice to meet you.
You may shake my hand. Thank you. Can I shake your hand? Thank you.
First of all, I just want to say real quick, I have too many dreams. I just don't know what to do anymore. And this, usually, just for history, I will have dreams and they will come to pass later, or I'll just walk into them within months, detailed. Well, anyways, this one dream has just got me stuck, and in this dream, this is a person from the past is coming. Well, I'm walking down this road, and I'm trying to save a little bird, and I'm running as fast as I can to save this little bird. Well, as I'm running, I'm passing through an intersection, and this lady comes out with a stop sign and yells, "Stop!" And I stop, and she says, "Drop the bird, take this egg." So I'm holding this egg, I don't know what it is, and then she says, "The certain person is coming back into your life, and there's gonna be a woman with him." And then she says, and then I get overwhelmed, so overwhelmed about the egg. I said, "What kind of egg is it?" She says, "It's an eagle egg." And I am just, all I remember is how overwhelmed I felt about this eagle egg. Like, it was just this huge responsibility that I just understand. And I look at her, I'm like, I mean, are you serious? You're gonna give me this egg? This is gonna be an eagle, it's gonna be big one day. Eagles are huge.
Who's the kids are put this in, right?
And so as I said that, it cracked open, its head popped out, and I just woke up with this sudden, oh, like this is so serious, and just, that's true.
Dream basically means this. You've been walking, what kind of bird is the first bird?
I don't know, some of those,
Just this one.
yeah,
Okay, so you've been walking with a small concept of what you're really going to do, what your walk with God is. But then somebody comes along and says to you, "Oh, this is not really what you're called to do. This is what you were doing, but I've got something more that you're called to do." It's so embryonic, it's in its egg form right now. But here's what it's going to be. It's going to be an eagle. The head bursting out of the egg says, "I'm going to give you a taste for this gift." But it's not going to be matured yet. It's not hatched out yet. It's just a taste for it. I recognize it. Oh my goodness, this really is this. But then it has to hatch out of the egg.
Well, I don't know. I'll see what's up. I'm on my way upstairs. Technology's great, but it doesn't do what you want it to do. All right. I thought I could come downstairs and relax, but nope.
It has to grow. You still like an eagle, it has to molt. And in the molting, it loses all of its feathers, walks on the ground, and has to have other eagles feed it. Totally incapable of helping itself. And that egg is just to let you know, this is what's coming your way. This is the walk you're called to. It's not a walk that's easy. It's a hard walk, but it is the walk that you were created to have.
okay,
That's the essence of the dream.
thank you.
Okay? Let's see. Okay. How much time do we have, Bonnie? Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to 5 o'clock. I have the strength to go to 5. Is that okay? No, yeah, yeah, you don't want to miss tonight's message. I'm not speaking, but I've got a great offering. So, but if you're going to skip tonight, then we better call it quits in about 10 minutes. I just want you to be tired. You probably want to go back to your hotel room and catch a nap or something, but. Okay. Okay, all right, we'll do it at 5 o'clock. So I'm just gonna leave it up to you to kind of please yourself. And if you need to leave, feel free to leave. We'll take the people in line. But as we approach 5 o'clock and you realize that you're gonna be after 5 o'clock, then you'll need to police yourself and kind of disperse, okay? Because at 5, I'm gonna have to say, guys, I'm tired. Okay? All right.
Okay, I'm laying in bed and I'm laying on my stomach and I'm reading a book. As I'm turning the pages of the book, on one page is one word, the word is Elijah. On the next page, there are other words, but they're not together, they're like sporadic on the page.
So I get this picture, because I'm trying to walk through the dream with you. So Elijah's the only word on the page, big, small, normal print, big print, normal print, but it's at the middle of the page, just
It's at the top of the
at
page.
the top of the page. Okay. Next page you come to is another word, different location, same location,
Same location.
same location. Okay, but you don't recognize the word,
The next word that I saw was the word John, or the name John.
John, okay?
And then under the name John, on a different part of the page, were the words to be.
Okay, so Elijah on one page, turn the page, John, down the page, to be. Okay.
And I had no idea what it meant. So, but the first thing that came to me was, when you go to the conference, bring the dream to the conference.
Good. First of all, turn to the page represents episodes, okay? So this is one of those rare dreams that have actually two parallel meanings to it going through it, okay? So we'll do it with one meaning and then we'll do it with the second layer of meanings. Because pages sometimes mean layers as well. First part, page 1, Elijah, right? Top of the page, basically saying that there's a revelation that's going to come to you. And you're gonna understand some things, or be able to see hidden things like Elijah. Second page is John. John the Revelator had obviously the apocalyptic vision of Revelation, but was incredibly full of love and had a revelatory gift. Then to be means this is not yet, it's coming. Now, that's first layer, that's to you. Second layer is, who did people say John the Baptist was? And yet Jesus said, he is Elijah, but if you dare to understand, he is yet to come. What's it at the bottom of the page? To be, or to come, to be. This will be, this is to be, yet to be, or to be. Meaning, it has not happened yet. So, on one hand, what you're called to do, you're operating at one level, but the second level, you're not, it hasn't happened yet. On the other hand, John, it's a tie to the word, Elijah has come, is to be. Okay? So you're going to see things in your life, just like there's things that are there in its real form, physical form, Elijah, there in its spiritual form, John, there in its return form, Elijah, the same thing's going to happen to you. What you used to be, you're going to transform and you'll become, but it's yet to be. Okay? So, glad you brought that to this dream. I mean, this conference. That's good. That's good. Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon. I had a dream that I was actually walking in an area that I was not familiar with, and it was,
Like a city, a nation.
I don't know where I was walking, and it was dark. But in the distance, I could hear a baby crying, an infant. And as I walked, it's almost like a presence or someone was carrying this baby. And as the sound of the infant got closer, there was a bright light that almost blinded me. And whoever, with whatever was holding this baby handed it to me, and I called the baby's name, and it stopped crying. And then I woke up and I didn't understand, it puzzled me.
Wow. Well, you're not gonna have a baby according to that dream.
I'm not married, so.
Now, it doesn't mean you'll never have a baby, it just means that dream is not about having a baby.
Yes.
Okay, the dream is basically this. You're walking through a difficult time. The dream says that there's light coming your way. With that light coming your way is something brand new. If you'll take it and give it a name, it will flourish in your care.
Amen. Thank you.
Okay.
That's precious.
That's it, that's it. Yes, sir.
Okay, so before I had this dream, I actually woke up at 5:55 a.m.
Okay.
and I went back to sleep. So I was standing in the middle of a field with sunflowers larger than me, and yeah. And then I saw grenades flying above me. It's like hundreds of them. And then as they were landing, it was I realized it was like fertilizer, green fertilizer. And so I started sprinting out of the field. And as
So
I
the
got
grades turned into fertilizer.
but they exploded
Explode.
and fertilizer. It was like fertilizer wire that came out. And so I sprinted to the end of the field, and as I got to the end of the field, I turned around and looked and saw all this runoff water, which was green. And then on the ground, or sitting in a chair, was a lady who, for some reason, I just knew she was the wife of the farmer. And she looked like she was hand-picking out sunflower seeds, but her demeanor was that of like a slave, where she was kind of working too hard. And then so my close friend, drove up in a black car, parked under the carport, came out, and he was going to speak to the husband of the wife to kind of, speak on her behalf. And the father comes running out, and it turns out it was my dad, who's a non-believer. And he's threatening to leave.
And so your dad turns up to be the husband or
Yeah.
the farmer that was going to speak?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, the husband.
Yeah, and so at this point, I'm a bystander, and then I see an unmarked police car drive up, and the police officer comes out, and he looks at the situation. He goes back in and pulls out an Uzi and puts it on, and he starts shooting at everyone under the carport, my friend, and then the husband or the farmer. And I noticed that it's water coming out. It's like a water gun. And then he turns and he shoots me and hits me on the left side of my neck. And I feel electrocution. And then I wake up and I'm physically shaking in my bed.
Okay, so the Uzi was not firing bullets, it was firing water.
Yeah, it's firing water.
High powered?
It was just like a water gun just
slurring
slurring out.
water squirt.
Mhm.
All right. And, okay. So you're in the field, sunflowers. Okay, sunflowers typically represent two things. It can represent the location, meaning like the Midwest, or it can represent a new day coming. Like the sun is about to come. Flowers represent grace, and sunflowers then would represent a new grace that's coming your way. That which was meant to destroy things in your life. I mean, you were out in the field. These grenades were going all around you, over you, meant to destroy you and what you were doing, because you were out there when they were exploding. Will turn out to be fertilizer in your life, meaning they'll turn out to actually help you in what you're called to become. The lady that was on the porch that talked about her husband working too hard, is basically says, don't let this happen to you. And then when it turns into your father, who's the husband, it especially means, don't let this happen to you. And then when the policeman comes with the Uzi and begins firing on everybody under the carport, while standing under a carport. Basically, cars is something to get you where you're going, your business, your ministry, your job. Carport would be where you rest from the worldly. So you put your car under it, you rest there while you're resting. So now you have a policeman who was firing an Uzi at you. It turns out to be, I guess you were under the carport?
I was on the side.
You're on the side.
So I
So were
was
you?
under the cover. I was just watching all this.
And then he turns to fire.
Fire.
Okay. So basically saying, the dream is basically saying, don't let what your father how he's lived his life happen to you. If If you do, it would rise to authority that will rise up against you, that will try to set you back. This authority, and the water gun aspect of it, so the bolts mean it's not real authority, but it's perceived authority. And perception becomes reality, and then you end up being attacked by this perceived authority. So it's a warning dream. One of the categories of dream, one of the 20 categories is warning dreams. Just warning you, there's traits that you have, they're just like your dad. Don't allow these traits to become you. The trials you're going through right now should become fertilizer for your life, not deterrents to your life. And if you'll avoid the workaholic issue, you can become great. If you don't, you get placed to illegitimate authority to attack you. And it may not seem significant, it's significant enough to throw you off course. Okay? Bless you. Yes. Grace is bigger than you are. Very good. Thank you. Keep doing that. This is good. Yes.
My dream starts with me standing in really lush green grass. It's emerald green, the most beautiful grass I've ever seen. And I must have been barefoot because I remember being so soft as I walked through it. And as I'm walking, I look up and the sky is just an amazing pure blue. And the sun's shining on my face and it's just a bright yellow and it's warm and it feels great. So I walk through the grass, and as I walk through the grass, I get to an elevated railroad trestle, gravel on both sides. So I cross the trestle. On the other side of the trestle is an open door warehouse. There are no doors, but it's just open. It's huge. And I walk in the warehouse, and I marvel at the huge steel beams that are inside, because there are bays that are 3 and 4 bays high. And I'm looking up thinking, this is huge. And I walk through that part of the warehouse. And I reach the second part of the warehouse. It's more of a normal ceiling warehouse, and all the shelves are regular height. But on all of those shelves are boxes, and the boxes are covered in dust. And you have to look really carefully at the boxes to see what are in the boxes. And I'm specifically looking for a beautiful cup. And I know that I'm looking for this beautiful cup, and nothing else is going to do. And I notice another couple in the warehouse, and they're looking for the same thing. And as I look at the boxes, I notice that there's a bowl that is similar to this cup, but I'm not interested in the bowl. And I asked the sales lady, do you have any of these beautiful cups? And she said, no, we have the bowls. And I said, no, I'm looking for the cup. So I leave. As I leave the warehouse, I approach the trestle again, but this time there's a witch like from Wizard of Oz, and she's on a broomstick, and she's flying around, and she's trying to throw me off the trestle. And I'm afraid, but she doesn't throw me off. And I realized that I need to go home and research it and find out what I need to do to deal with her. And I realized I've got to come back and overthrow her. And I don't leave the trestle, but it's like that realization that I need to research it happens within a second, and I'm back at the trestle. And I approach it again, and I cross over, and she comes back at me. She's flying, trying to throw me off. And I close my eyes, and I windmill my hands, and I must have thrown her over because when I opened my eyes, and then she was gone. And I knew I had defeated her. And that was the end of the dream.
Is it kind of like a boiling dirt?
Yeah.
Yeah, rejoicing in the Lord. That's good. Well, the dream basically says that the place that God has got you in right now, He has prepared you to go look for things that have been in storage for a long, long time. Specific things, like this cup. You go into this warehouse, the support system there seems like overkill for just cups and bowls. And the dust that's there says nobody's been looking for these for a long, long time. The overkill of the structure indicates how important it is that nothing happens to these bowls. The one like made out of straw, so anything that fell on it could just crush it. The building was you said giant beams, you were marveling at the giant beams. That says there's an infrastructure here to protect that value. Even if nobody ever finds them, they're still valuable. So God's getting prepared you to find what has been waiting for a long, long time, probably years or decades. You're searching to find specific issues, because that issue is what you're called to do, not what somebody else is called to do. If you find that cup, that's a specific issue. It's like drinking the cup that God's called you to drink. If you find that cup, you'll know that you'll be able to accomplish what God, there's a sense of well-being that you know you'll have. You're going back out, and you encounter a witch. That witch has stopped everybody else from doing what you're doing. That's why there's nobody, that's why they're all full of dust. You go back, you do what it's gonna take to do, you do the research, you find out the answers, which indicates you read the word of God, you find the solutions there, you come back across the trestle, the bridge, and you encounter what you get. But this time you know what to do. You whirl your arms, you said. That's like rejoicing in the Lord. Worship, rejoicing, knowing what God will back you up. She dispels and you go back into the warehouse. Now, but it stops there?
It stops once I've heard the witch on
Okay,
the
so you
side.
don't go back into the warehouse. So the witch is gone. Now the option is, now, what is it that God's called me to find that everybody else got scared away from? It's something that people got scared away from that you want me to find, and it's important.
That's the next train.
That's the next thing, or a revelation of some kind from God, he'll give it. Yeah, bless you. Yes, ma'am.
I woke up this morning about 4.
This morning?
Yeah, about 4, and I went back to sleep. Dream started, I was taking my car to the shop and let this man look at it. The man wanted me to go to the store for him, but he was very affectionate. In a fatherly like way, very affectionate, fatherly like way. Then, changed to something else. I was taking a sheet, a gold colored sheet.
Like a new scene. Okay, all right.
And I put the sheet in the dryer, another scene. We found out that my stepdaughter, Sonia, had cancer. And I told them, she didn't have to die, that God could heal her. And then I was talking to somebody about getting married. And I said, we would hear the angels singing at a wedding, and it would be a joyous time.
You getting married or you're married?
We did in the dream.
She wasn't your word.
I was.
You were getting married. Okay. And you'd hear the angels at that.
At the wedding.
Okay, all right, all right. So here's the meaning of 4 scenes. First scene, affectionate father, car that you're driving means what God has called you to do, and the father is overseeing that. Okay? Scene number 2, you're in, you have a gold sheet that you're putting into the dryer. Okay? That gold sheet represents covering. Gold represents the holy calling that you have. So the wet must have been wet in order for you to have to put it into the dryer. And the wet means it's been cleaned from historical stuff. Something has, from your history, family, bloodline has been cleaned from that. Then the third dream was that, what was the third dream? Because 4 was a wedding. The third, you found out your daughter had cancer. So basically it says there's an attack coming against your daughter, pray that will be lifted, because that's the gold sheet's key to that lifting. And then number 4 is as proof that your father was in the first dream. The second dream is that there's going to be, your joy is going to be made complete, and that your father has got that all in line. Everything will fall into line. Okay? So very good. Very good. Yes, ma'am.
Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
This is a reoccurring dream. I keep having it and having it and having it. I go back to my old neighborhood where I used to live in Chicago. This one specific house. It's a brick house. And the roof is damaged. There's a fire constantly going in the back room and up the upstairs. I'm always taken to this house. And once I'm in there, I'm telling people, no, you can't paint this wall. You cannot do this. Do you see the flames coming out of the top story? And the roof is ready to collapse. And that's it. And this keeps reoccurring and reoccurring.
Right.
I don't know what it is.
So your dream basically says you're a rescuer. And that you're trying to, the painting of the house that's burning, the changing of the house that's burning, it's like you want to make things right. You want to, this is not right. I want to make this right. I can fix this. I can resolve this. And the base of the Lord is saying, do what you're called to do. You got this creative side of you. Do what you're called to do, but you can't fix that which is burning down. There's something around you that must be burning down, that you're not gonna be able to fix. Go on to the next thing. Okay, go on to the next thing.
Okay, thank you.
All right, bless you. The lady over here that had the dream, the house that had the ugly paneling on the wall, the husband that's so wonderful. I forgot, as I'm walking over just a minute ago, I remembered the Holy Spirit just said, you forgot to tell her about the blue-green roof that she really, really liked. I said, that isn't crazy. God is so wonderful. The blue-green roof, again, wisdom, communion, conscience, one of the colors of the Spirit is red, one color of the Spirit is blue, one color of the Spirit is green. The blue-green roof basically says that everything that He's called you to do, blue is revelation, and green is communion, revelation and communion, green is conscience. So He will tell you step by step, He's covering this whole thing. His Spirit is covering this whole thing, and He will tell you step by step what to do with revelation and just inner knowings. This is what needs to be done. This is where I need to go. This is what we need to say. Step by step, He will guide you. He's covering the whole thing. And you love that, which tells me you must love things of the Spirit, especially revelatory, supernatural type of stuff. So I had to tell you that for some reason, that the Holy Spirit was really insistent on that. So I think it'll do your husband good too. Okay, that's it.
I've had 3 dreams about my mom in the last couple of weeks.
Okay.
You want me to tell you all 3 years?
What is your mom like?
She's dead.
Okay, and how long?
7 years.
Okay, yeah, come over.
Okay, so the first dream I had was a couple weeks ago. My wife and I and my mother were in the backyard enjoying, just the backyard, and we decided, my wife and I decided to come back inside. My mom was still outside, and then when we came inside, the wind started to blow loud, and then I heard a boom, which was a large tree came down. And so I went back outside to see if my mom was okay. And as I was going out, I realized that there was snakes on the ground that were trying to get at me. But so in my instinct said, don't go over there. And they weren't actually biting me, but they were wanting to bite me. And then when I saw my mom, I was running over to her, and then I stepped into a large pit, and then I woke up. Second dream was my dad and my mom and I were working in our office, and she was starting to get upset at him, and she started to kind of get on his case, and I went over there to kind of listen in a little bit, but as she started talking, she was a lot softer, a lot gentler than she normally would have been, and as she kind of softened her talk, the tension in the air kind of eased up. The third dream I had last night.
Yeah, is your dad alive?
He's dead as well, 7 years. The dream I had last night, it started out with me cleaning the dining area, some spider webs, and then these 2 spiders, little small ones, I was trying to clean them up, and they started coming toward me, and then the dream shifted to me driving my white Camry with my brother and my mom in it, and we were driving down this road, and there was a sharp left turn, and the car kind of turned on its side. And so but for some reason, I was able to pull into one of the houses' driveways and
Like on the side of the turn.
yeah, I just kind of was able to turn it back out to the street. And I was kind of muttering to myself, because there was like some realtors at these houses who were trying to sell these new houses, and I was telling myself, boy, I would never buy those houses because they're right by this busy street, and the realtors were kind of giving me a certain look. But we were able to get back onto the street, and we were driving into a downtown area. Yeah, turned back on the 4 wheels, and we were driving into a downtown area, and that's when I woke up.
Okay, all right. Basically, is saying this. Dream number 1 was your mother was out by the pool, is that right? Out in the backyard. And when you came in, wind came along, mother was still out there, tree came down, well, I checked your mother to see if she's all right, we found snakes everywhere.
Yeah, a certain area.
certain area, and then you
I was trying to go back to find her and see if she was okay. The snakes were not biting me, but I was trying to make sure I wasn't gonna go in that area.
and was there a pit involved there?
And then as I was heading towards her, I fell into a pit.
Okay.
You know,
What that portion of the dream says is basically this. Snakes represent untruths or long tales or fables or fabrications of things. Don't accept the things that the enemy has told you about your mom and where she's at. If you do, you'll fall into a pit. If you get your eyes on those snakes, you'll fall into a pit. That's out there. The tree that came down seemed like could have been very dangerous, and basically it represents that which took your mom out of this world. But there's the dream is saying that there's lies that the enemy is wanting you to believe about where your mom is at and what is going on and what your mom was. So don't believe those lies, because if you do, you fall into the pit. Okay, which basically means it delays what God's calling you to do. You have to find a way to get out of it. It's a delay tactic. Sometimes it's been a decade in the pit. Okay, so dream number 2 is, September again?
We were all working in the office, my dad and my mom and I.
Right, they begin to argue, or she begins to talk to your dad.
Yeah.
One of the talk softer she got.
Yeah.
Which says, this will tell you that what your mom used to be. See, once we leave this world, we enter into heaven, we don't stop getting trained.
Right.
Everything keeps working.
Right.
This is just a short period that determines where we enter there. Okay, so your mom is still, things are still going on with your mom, and she's softer than ever now. Okay, as time has gone along. Third dream was you were in a car, right, driving along, you tried to make a sharp left-hand turn, car goes on its side.
It was a white car too.
Your car too, and you're driving by, and it takes you sliding by some real estate that you would never buy.
Right.
Okay, but that's how you end up back on off both wheels.
And a white car.
In a white car, which is different than the car you were in, right?
Well, it was actually a white car all the way.
All the way, okay.
Yeah.
The different car, same car.
Same car.
Okay, and so after you get back on your wheels, we go to,
Like a downtown area, a small downtown area.
Okay.
And that was the end of the dream.
okay, so basically it says this, your mother has given you a gift, left you with a gift, to be able to discern what to get involved with, what not to get involved with. It may seem like things have turned on its side or gone sideways for you right now, but you will end up in the destination where God's called you, in the center of what He's called you to do. That she's given you the gift to discern, oh, I wouldn't buy that, I wouldn't buy that. And the realtor may get mad, or the people around you that you maybe once were trying to please, but you don't now. That element, you don't care what they think anymore. And you're just, this is where I'm going, I'm not gonna do that, I'm not gonna do that, I am gonna do that. And when you voice, when you voice that, you end up back, seeming to be back on 4 wheels again, and back going to the center of what God's called you. Downtown represents the center of what God's called you to do. Car is the Lord,
Is the white,
and the white car is what God's called you to do.
okay.
And things may have seemed to go sideways right now, but they're gonna get back on their feet.
Thank you.
Okay? Bless you. Yes.
Thank you for doing this. Appreciate you. This is a vision, if you don't mind. I was in the hospital as a volunteer chaplain. Have visited with the man a couple of times. He was a Christian. This was the first time I'd seen him, went in the room, and the column of light was going from his head to the top of the ceiling. And when I would try to describe this light, it was just, clear light. When I would just try to describe it, I would say it was like a prism, and you would turn it, and there would be maybe just, you would see those colors, but it really wasn't. It was all clear light.
Right. And so.
What do you think of that?
I think it's really, really good. I think I think it's God. I wish I'd have seen it. I think it's the light that we were talking about, that in him gives pure light. It's clear. It's not like we think pure light is. And it contains all the colors of the rainbow in him. And this man was headed towards that light, heaven. So it was like, it was almost, it was like, yeah, well, right. There's almost like a track you do. So come up here. Okay? Yeah. I love that. That's really good.
Okay, so I'm in this building and there's this platform all the way around and there's a huge gathering of people in the center of it. But they're on a lower level. And there's a speaker on the platform, it's Poppy Davis. And so he's speaking to the crowd and all of a sudden he stops. And I'm on the platform with him. And he says, wow, there's a lot of angelic activity in here. And I can't see it and I want to see the angels really bad. Well, all of a sudden the angels appear and there's one in the very far corner and it's massive, huge. And you can tell it's a male angel. The wings are just gigantic and you can tell it's a very strong angel. And I'm looking at his eyes and they're very intense. And so then there's another angel. Well, there's angels in every corner, but that's the one that I noticed the most. This one was just very massive. The others kind of, yeah, just kind of standing there, almost guarding, you know, watching over and guarding. And the others were just, they were smaller. And then there was one that it just seemed to kind of appear on the stage with us. Pocky is not there anymore, I don't think. It's just me and this angel. And I'm swinging. I'm like on this rope swing now with the wooden seat. And so I'm swinging towards the angel and then away from it. And then it's a female angel because she has long wavy hair. And she holds out her hand to me like she wants me to grab it. But when I get to her, I almost grab her hand and then I pull back because I'm almost afraid to, because I'm not sure if I'm supposed to. You know, I want to, but I'm not sure if it's okay for me to do that. And so I swing back, and as I swing forward again, she starts pulling away from me. So I'm no longer able to touch her. And I noticed about her that she had these necklaces on, and each necklace was a different color and a different length. And I don't remember what order the colors were in, and that's basically it.
Well, that's good. Well, basically, here's a summation of the dream. The dream says, for what you think others can see, you have the ability to see. That's a simple illustration. So keep that in mind for the whole thing. Or you think of like Paul Keith Davis or myself, or anybody has the ability to see, you have the ability to see that. Then number two is God's going to show you things that he ain't going to show other people. He's going to show you those things. Number three is you grab the opportunity when you have the opportunity.
One more thing, it's not a dream, it's just about numbers. For the past year or so, I've been seeing, well, it started off, I was seeing triple numbers, 333, 444, basically. But then the triple numbers kind of stopped, and now it's just double numbers. I'll say 8 out of 10 times when I look at the clock, there's a double number in it.
Like 12, 12,
10, 11, or 233, 44, 55, you know, things like that. Any significance.
Yes, like the verses in the Bible that have those numbers in them.
Just when I see it, then look up the verses
For
or.
example, look up, if it's 233, the second verse, second chapter, 33rd verse.
33rd verse, okay.
Second chapter, 33rd verse. 444, 422, fourth chapter, 22nd verse. Look at all the books in the Bible, everything that has that, be amazed at the storyline that goes along with it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? Yes?
Hello. Yes, I'm at a basketball game and I'm sitting on the bleachers and the game is going on, the ball's being passed back and forth between the teams. And I hear this voice say, who wants to play in the game? And I look around and everybody near me, nobody moves or says anything. So I said, well, I will. So I begin to come down the bleachers to go to the game. But as I come down the bleachers, I begin to fall. And I fall outside. And I land on my feet. And As I'm standing there, I began to look around, and I could see people on the side, like under a tree, like maybe homeless people or prostitutes. And then I saw a light, and I began to roll toward it because it was real powerful. And as I walked toward it, the power of it became stronger and stronger. And it was so strong that it knocked me on my back. And when I woke up, I had a purple cloth in one hand, and in the other, I had torn pages with words on them.
In the dream when you woke up, so you had a dream within a dream.
I had a dream within the dream.
Right, okay, so when you woke up out of the first dream into the surrounding room, you had purple robe and pages with words on them, but you don't remember what.
I don't know what the words said. Yeah.
Okay, all right, so basically here's the idea. God's saying, I'm calling you to work in team with me. That's the basketball game. And as you're going to go do that, you think that it's going to be inside and it's going to be easy, but it's going to be outside and different than you ever thought. Number two, he's calling you, and you're going to be in close proximity to people that you may not have ever been in close proximity to before, or very often. He's going to call you to be near those people, to help those people. And if you will do that, there's going to be, you'll walk into the light of the purpose, his presence, that overshadows everything that you may come up against that may try to stop you. The reward of that, purple is authority, and the pages is probably means that you'll end up writing about your experiences. Okay? All right, bless you. Good dream. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I had two dreams about this friend of mine, Mary Ellen. And the first dream, she was on TV and she announces, I'm pregnant. And then the second one, I see her at the mall. We're on the second level because there's 2 levels at the mall. And I see her big belly. And I'm looking at her belly and I see the face of the baby and these huge eyes. And they're
Pressing through the skin or through his opaque?
like through the skin.
Okay.
And they're looking at, and I'm looking at this baby and these eyes are just bulging. And I said, ooh, maybe we better stop looking because this light that was coming down was so bright, I was afraid it would hurt the baby's eyes. And then I turned around and left and she turned around to leave with her husband. But I turned back around to look and watch them leave. And as I'm looking at their backs, he pushes her over the edge of the balcony. And next thing you know, I'm down at the bottom of the wall and she's hanging from a bungee cord with her dress over her head, and I see these little plaid bloomers. It's just strange.
It's a great dream.
Oh, it is? I was getting ready for their marriage.
So it is at the bungee cord?
But yeah, she's kind of bouncing up there upside down, and her bloomers, her plaid bloomers are showing, and her husband just became a pest.
What in the world could that mean? This is really a great dream. Basically, is this. Your friend is about to understand that she has a call on her life. Number 2, it's a tell-vision. You saw her on the tell-vision. Telling a vision. I'm pregnant, okay? The pregnancy is probably not a real pregnancy. It's probably about something she's pregnant with, okay? Then you see her pregnant, scene 2, you see the face of the baby, big what?
Big eyes.
Eyes. What do eyes represent?
See.
The ability to see, exactly. So she's probably has a gift as a seer.
Oh.
I know it. I can prove it.
Is growing, and she's about to walk into the beginning end of that ministry. Then, as she's walking down to the mall, her husband pushes her over the side, which means he doesn't understand the change in his life. But God's given her insurance, so to speak.
Wow.
And he's basically saying, while you're gonna be vulnerable and transparent, you won't be too transparent
Oh,
in this whole thing. And the fact that you call them bloomers means simply, this is about to bloom.
oh, wow. Oh, she's gonna be so excited.
So, there you go, so that's the meaning of the dream. So, seeing gift is about to be birthed, and her husband may not understand, it's a vision, child eyes seeing, and even though her husband doesn't understand, she won't be dramatically impacted by it, and it will still go in. Okay? All right, yes.
Unfortunately, my dream is not that good. Okay, I have a 20-year-old daughter, and she's currently in college. There's two parts of the same dream because it continued. Basically, I walk in a room where my daughter's being raped. Several people is in the room raping her. As I walk in the room, I look at her, I only can see her legs. And she's shaking her legs, and I know she's dying. Okay, so I scream her name. The next day or so, or 2 days after that, I walk in a room where there's a family reunion. My father is there.
In the dream.
In the dream, yes. In the dream, so my father, every time he sees me, this is in real life, my father says to me, "Hi, honey." That's his hello, okay, in Spanish. When I walk in the room, I recognize my father's dead, but he's alive currently, but I knew that he was dead, so I was surprised to see him there. So he leaves me with the impression, because he communicates with me in my mind, that he will no longer be able to call me, "Hi, honey." He will no longer be able to say my name, which created me great pain. As I woke up, I encountered two red snakes intertwined, and I'm screaming, and I wake up from there.
So a dream in the dream again?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, basically it says, one, the red snakes represent two issues that are trying to lie in you. Snakes represent a lie, a long tail, meaning something that's fabricated, not to be believed, a falsehood. Okay, first one is that this is going to happen to your daughter. Second one is that you're going to lose the love of your father. Both of those are untrue. Okay? First one, pray, it'll stop it. Two is, it may not be the physical rape, it may just be just the whole thing's going on around her, emotional betrayals, upheavals, people abusing, misusing, control, manipulation, that type of thing. And she will be able to get out of that. The liar, she can't get out of it, but she will be able to get out of it.
I remember there was blood dripping onto her feet.
Right, right. Which basically means that it's going to be very, very painful.
Okay.
If there's not prayer. See, this is what I call a warning dream. So if it says, this is telling you, pray, this doesn't have to happen. It's a warning dream. Number two, it's also the enemy wants you to think that you're going to lose the love of your father, which is a lie. These two dreams will try to intertwine themselves. The two lies will try to intertwine themselves to make you lose hope.
Is that the love of my father, or the love of my father, the one that I think is the love of my father?
Right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Amen. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Very good. Okay. This is right here. Then that'll be it, right here. Yep. You're the last one.
My name is Priscilla Moore, and I'm coming from Michigan. My dream is short, but very ugly. I dreamed on Thursday before getting ready to come to a conference that I was living in a basement. And
Living in a
basement, yes. And then I came out, and seems like a very poor neighborhood. And there were a lot of little boys, and one of them spoke to me. Now, this little boy was, I could see his wisdom in him. And he said, you are persecuted. And I turned and said, no way, I'm just a preacher. Then he said, then I looked around and I said, what, are you telling me I'm surrounded to many people, so I should move in a place like a farm, to hide? to stop the persecution. And he said, we're in the process of persecution, being persecuted. Then he said, no, move close to the hospital. We just coming to that. I said, and he said, yes, move close to the hospital, but do not, provoke, whatever coming up. So that was
You
good.
don't provoke something to happen.
Yes, so please help me out.
Okay. He gets the microphone. Okay, basically what the dream means is one, the basic means that right now what you're doing is kind of undercover. You're not seen on the surface of things. Number two, that if you do what God's called you to do, you will be persecuted. Number three, the hospital represents the church. Don't never get away from the church and get out on your own. The hospital represents the church, not the hospital. So it's not like, look, go to the hospital so if you get hurt, but you get there in a hurry. That's not what that means. It means that stay close to the church, the place that can repair you, the thing that can uphold you, the thing that can give input to you, the thing that can dress your wounds, can strengthen you, can undergird you and send you back out again. Stay close to the church. Don't provoke anything, meaning don't do anything silly. Because sometimes we get attacked, and that's one thing. Sometimes we do something that causes the attack. That's a whole different thing. Okay? So and he had wisdom, so the end result of this is if you just have the wisdom of a little child, you'll make it. Okay? All right, bless you. Okay, so dreams are remarkable tools. The way God has created us. Job says this about dreams. He says that God speaks to one way or another, man does not perceive it. In the dream and the vision of the night, when men slumber upon their beds, he opens the minds of men and seals their instruction in order to conceal pride from man and keep his soul from the pit. He gives you dreams so you can do what he's called you to do and avoid the snare of the evil one. In the last days, you're going to need that capability. So Lord, give us all more of them. We need you to talk to us. We need you to speak to us. And any way you choose, we say yea and amen. You know best. We'll take it. Amen.
All right, y'all came back at 6 o'clock for the evening service. We're ready to be done at 5, so come back. Okay, all right. No, probably upstairs. After any music for the service. Oh well.
Folks, thank you for being here. Let me ask you to pick up your belongings and carry them with you.
Oh, boy.
Take seats. The doors will be open at 6 o'clock, so then the service will be at 7. Remember,
It is now 7:10. To all of them, obviously, you're watching online. This says nothing. This is a pre-recorded conference. Did you find the button?
No.
You can just shut down and just turn off the computer. You gotta find the button. I don't know where the button is. I don't need it for Sunday, because it'll be in the park.
I have it here.
But we'll need it for next week. So interesting, I thought it was interesting service to see what went on. I've had some of those visions, a number of visions. I did a whole series on numbers once, and 316 verses, amazing the thread that went through that. That's happened to me before. The fire vision where things are burning down, you just can't save everybody. I've had those. God telling me to move on from certain people and certain things. And sometimes you just can't, and if you keep going, you end up just getting yourself burned and not doing any good. So all interesting things. So if you took some notes, then what we'll do is in July, when we come back, you found it, yay! When we come back in July, if you had a vision, we'll kind of talk about it. We'll talk about what he's talked about. I'll have some more notes of how to decipher things when we come back. It'll be the second Wednesday in July. The first Wednesday in July, we have VBS next week. We're down at the park all week. So the second week of July. So come with notes, questions, and if I don't have the answer, I'll find an answer for you. But I hope to have answers with me, like things like you talked about, certain elements, certain colors, things that they mean. There's a whole study on those different things by people who are much smarter than me that I will just copy and paste and tell you what it means, and I'll tell you what they said, you know, and well, I'll just tell you what they mean, and I'll tell you that I learned it from somebody else, but you know, I'm kidding. That's a joke. Thank you, Jim, for showing up tonight. You're awesome. Like I said, it's already 7:15, so we're going to end tonight, and just take this and think about it. And like the thing said at the end, we need more dreams. We're facing a time where God needs to speak to us, and we need to pay attention. And He likes to get us thinking, because then when He gets us thinking, then you know our juices start to flow. We start to, and we go, oh, but what is this? And he doesn't want to just spoon feed us. He wants us to learn. He wants us to move with Him and find ways to do that. So, dear Lord, we thank you for today. Lord, I ask you to continue to bless us, Lord. Bless us as we endeavor, Lord, to hear you speak to us in multiple ways, Lord, and not only for our good, but for those around us and for our country, Lord. And we thank you for today. In Jesus' name we pray. Everyone said? Amen. So I think July will be an interesting month. So come with questions and stuff. And if you have a dream or had a dream in the past you can't get rid of, bring it. And Jean will interpret it for you. You know, some people have a gift for that. She seems to. Greg has a gift for that. Other people do. Not everybody has the same gift because everyone needs each other. So let's come and have a great time in. So that'll be what, July? Let's see, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 14th. We're our next class on Wednesday night, and we'll spend all July doing that. And then what we might do is just do a series of different gifts throughout the year. Some other people have asked me about the spiritual gifts test and things like that. So there's 24 of them. We'll just spend, 2 years of Wednesday nights talking about gifts. All right. That makes it easy for me to prepare. All right. That's a piece of cake. But we need to see the gifts move again, don't we? And in order for the gifts to move, we need to teach people. So starting in July, we had a great series here. Come on out. If you know somebody in church is looking forward to, wants to know more about that stuff, tell them, drag them with you. Call them at like 5 o'clock, 5:05, 5:10. 5:15, 5:20, 5:25, 5:30. If you bug them long enough, they'll either come or they'll stop being your friend. So one of the two. All right. Well, have a great evening. Remember, Jesus loves you. I love you. You are awesome. Remember, Sunday morning, 10:30, we'll be at the park. Actually, you show up anytime you want. It's worse to be at 9:30 getting ready. Huh? I would suggest bringing chairs. The park, they're still. We're not under COVID rules, but they are under COVID. It's weird. I don't know for sure if they're going to have tables this year or not or anything, but typically for concerts, they tell you to bring your own chair anyway. So there may be some chairs here and there around, but I would suggest bringing your own chair or bring a blanket, sit on it, and you fall asleep. And I'll come walk and talk to you while you're sleeping because I'm only preaching half the service. Pastor Robert and Don will be doing the other half in the big yellow suit and red shoes. I'm kidding. No. That's a joke. No, Robert McDonald from McDonald's. I know Robert, yes. So we're gonna have a good time Sunday morning, and then all day long, we have all kinds of things great going on. Continue to pray that God moves, people get saved, and the church grows. And then week after that's VBS. I'd say pray for Susie, but Susie's good to go. Doesn't need any help, right, Susie? Yeah. Keep Susie and her team in prayers. We have VBS and the Warriors, who are evangelists coming in, Jubilee Gang, and they do a great job, as they always do all over the place. Jean's doing like, thinking I don't see her yawning. All right, so have a great evening, and we'll see you Sunday. You ready? Thanks for turning everything off. Keep my computer down. So I'll get you off. She did last week. Yeah, and I think she can. Hey, so that all worked out well.
Yeah, yes, I'm glad.
After 18 always works.
That's my policy. I wasn't always that big, but I'm doing my best. Yes.
That came out of nowhere, there you go.
Did it, write it down, write them, like that, because apparently I'm mixing a lot of elements that.
Oh, so you just don't-
As much as trees are in our head. I do, so. I mean, something scary. When you wake up, finally I see it, just get out of bed. But it wasn't on the app.